Yes, welcome to AYYE European Council meeting 3/2024. It's Thursday, the 15th of February 2024, and it's 5:18 p.m. opening the meeting. Closing item 1, moving to item 2. Recommend members who are present, qualified, etc. We first see who are present. The roll call we were performed by Antti Ilmavirta, the Executive Director. So when you hear your name, please let us know in a loud and clear voice. Thank you. Before the roll call, I'll announce the long-term unavailability and disqualification. Branders, member of the board, 2024, replaced by Sarah Blomqvist. If you know of any other representatives who are disqualified from taking part in the meetings for the entire spring, please let us know. There's released information about deputy members, but I will not read them out loud here. Then seeing who are present, let's start with Aallon kokoomus.
Kiihonen. Paikalla. Mäkinen. Paikalla. Elo. Paikalla. Antikainen. Paikalla. Ikävalto. Paikalla. Ja näiden lisäksi olisi tulossa vielä Georg Närjä myös. Kiitos. Kiitoksia erinomaista ilmoitustyötä siellä. Katsokaa, että kun he tulee paikalle, että he käy tässä ilmoittamassa minulle sitten. Kem, Savola. Korjaan, en osaa lukea omia listojani. Rae. Kosonen. Paikalla. Muita. Saastamoinen paikalla. Saastamoinen, kiitos. Ylterirengas Palmqvist. Burmi. Niemi Veisin. Liikanen. Niemi Toni. Kiitos. Sitten Luja. Mustalahti. Erkkilä. Kiitos. Luovo, Pyykkönen. Luoma. Paikalla. Jäntti. Paikalla. Kallinen. Paikalla. Kiitos. Vihreämpi Aalto, Elgeneeli. Poissa paikalla. Poissa paikalla. Nainen, kiitos. Korjataan. Muistiin parasta. Jaha, mun Exceli päätti tehdä jännittäviä asioita. Täytyy ottaa jotain sitten uudestaan kohta. Joo, nyt en ole ihan varma mitä tapahtui, mutta Exceli päätti pyyhkiä puolet mun äskeisestä merkinnöistä.
Not quite sure what happened, but Excel just decided to delete half of the names I just called out. So we'll have to go through some of them again.
Ja oliko Kyllerirenkaasta vielä joku? Ei. Mustalahti ja Erkkilä oli Lujasta, kyllä, kiitos. Luovosta oli Pyykkönen, Luoma ja Jäntti ainakin. Rautiainen ja Ikola, eikö niin? Opasti vasemmalla Hintsala, Ervin ja Ollinen. Ja no niin, vihreän pelaa uudestaan, eli Ergeneidi poissa tilalla Tapanainen. Sitten Valkama, Bertta, Malvikko, välillä Määttä, kiitos. Luoka, Brun, Jokinen, tak. Och Devade. Läsnä. Exceli.
We have.
On rikki, mutta selvästi riittävästi. Tarkistan määrän sitten, kun äänestetään.
As my Excel is broken, I'll have to check the number a bit later. Doesn't give it automatically. So we have enough people to have quorum. I grant the right to speak to all employees, the OB staff, and the interpreters, and the right to speak and be present as a member of the board, chief financial officers. And yes, okay, point of order. The interpreter grant here the point of order. Thank you. I just read the information that my voice was not heard properly. Now, better. Yes, good. We can move on. Are there others here who need to be granted the right to speak or the right to be present? Apparently no, so we can close item 2 and move to item 3, recording the lawfulness and quorum of the meeting. According to our rules, section 17, says the representative council has quorum if there are at least 25 representatives present, plus the chair or vice chair of the representative council, and these conditions have been met. Section 18 states that the invitation to the meeting has to be posted on the bulletin board or website of the student union at least 8 days prior to the meeting. And members of the student union must be sent the invitation via email 7 days prior in Finnish, Swedish, and English. We have enough people here, and also the invitation to the meeting has been sent to representatives' emails at least 7 days prior to the meeting. So the meeting is lawful and has quorum. Closing item 3, moving to item 4. Election of 2 persons approving the minutes and 2 vote counters. We have new practice here that we want to use now. Yes, the representative council. The chair of the representative council has made wise decisions. Among them is the practice that the executive director will go through the list. Always 1 per coalition. And select these people as approver of minutes and vote counters. Vanhanen and Rae have been drawn to approve the minutes. Is this okay? Okay, yeah, Vanhanen is running late. So that's not good. So Tiihonen, you will inherit Vanhanen's turn to examine the minutes. And these people will also act as deputies for each other, the vote counters and the scrutinizers of the minutes. The interpreter did not catch the name of the vote counters, but they will probably be repeated soon.
Yes. Otetaan pöytäkirjan tarkastajaksi Tihonen ja Rae sekä varapuheenjohtaja.
Tihonen Rae will approve the minutes, and their deputies, Palkvinsa Mustalahti, and vote counters. These people, Palkvinsa and Mustalahti, will act the vote counters, and those who approve the minutes will act as their deputies. Closing item 4, moving to item 5, approval of the agenda for the meeting. The agenda has been sent to you with the invitation to the meeting. Does anyone have anything to add to it? Apparently no, so we can approve the agenda as the agenda for the meeting. Closing item 5, moving to item 6, announcements. Opening discussion.
Kiitos puheenjohtaja. Ilmoittaisin,
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to announce that you can now open, you can nominate people for our accolades, for the acknowledgements, that is. Any other announcements? Not so.
Tervehdys. Huomasin juuri viestin, joka...
Hello everyone, I just noticed the message sent by Mante. Maybe could we introduce the board at this point? No, that's fine by me. Yes, I think the board can now introduce themselves. Please come up here to the front row.
Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Fanny, nice to meet all of you.
And this is in English.
Actually, we have the presentation, or just the slide. So, here's the amazing picture of us. So my portfolio is to be the chair. Yeah. My school background is in the School of Engineering, and I'm studying in Masters Real Estate Economics. My hobbies are playing Aalto saxophone in a big band, and I like to read books and go for walks and these kind of things. And favorite student event, I must say that my home yields Homeland Store excursion is probably one of my favorite student events. Nice to meet you all.
Hello, hello. I'm Tessa, and our portfolios for this year are new students, equity, and internationality. And school background, I'm from arts. I'm studying design. Now in master's and MBA programs both. So that's that. Hobbies, I think mostly water sports related stuff, so swimming and ice swimming. And favorite student event, at least one of the interesting ones was Poronkusema in Rovaniemi, so a very Arctic one.
And hello everyone, I'm Kalle Schooma. My portfolios are, I only have one portfolio, it's education policy. My school background, I'm at School of Science, and I study the academia program, master's program. My hobbies, I play the tenor banjo in Luftslager. Otherwise I don't have time for too much. And my favorite student event is Ylonis.
Hi everyone, I'm Vilma Brandas, and my portfolios are social policy and sustainable development. If social policy doesn't say too much to you, it includes, for example, health and well-being, so like Ynsport, YTHS, and also like opintotuki and such. And My school background is in the School of Engineering, and I'm studying energy systems and markets. And in free time, I like to be in nature, do yoga, and read books. And my favorite event is probably the series.
Hello everyone, my name is Manta, my surname is Gigelita. On portfolio, I'm the vice chair. No, what did I say? Okay, backtrack a little bit. I'm the vice chair with responsibilities of also equity and advocacy. And if someone is wondering what do I do with advocacy, I'm more interested in the European Parliament elections that are coming up this June. And my school background, I'm a third-year master's student at School of Arts. And my hobbies include right now I'm learning Finnish. I'm also doing occasionally some ice dipping. And I like dancing. So if you're partying tonight, let's dance. If I'm there, of course. And my favorite student event is Tokyo's Masquerade.
Onko tilassa joku, joka preferaa suomen kieltä? Meillä on tulkkaus englanniksi, niin toimitaan suomeksi. Ei.
Yes, I don't prefer Finnish. I can also hold this in Finnish. Okay, I'll just do it in English.
Since we have an English board. Hello, I'm Joona Lykkonen, and my portfolios are finance and housing, which includes real estate. My school background is School of Engineering. My guild background is Maanmittari Guild, where I'm studying built environment and then maybe transitioning to real estate economics if I ever get my studies done. My hobbies are voluntary stuff, basically, although I would like to do some sports and video games also, a little bit more maybe. So. My favorite student event. Orientation week is fun, I guess. Possible Vappu is fun, I guess. I don't have a special one. Otakulise is also nice.
Yes, hello, I'm Olli. My portfolios are volunteers, community services. School background is School of Chemical Engineering, so I'm an NCR student from there. So I'm master phase of advanced energy solutions, more of energy slides, not like that much of chemical engineering anymore. Free time, I like to read, enjoy nature, travel, that kind of stuff. Favorite student event, I would say, vanhojen vappusetsit. Yeah, that is the one that I'm only going to say about. It's incredible. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm AYYE. My portfolios are their strategy, corporate relations and communications. It's actually school background. I'm from AYYE, so I'm studying energy and environmental engineering for quite some years. I feel I don't have a lot of time for hobbies, but then again, we play badminton weekly, and also I usually go swimming with Juuso there, so maybe those are the hobbies. Favorite student event, as Fanny said, Raksan KP. It's simple, our homeland expert, it's students' best time.
Hello everybody, my name is Veeti Kahilainen. My portfolios are campus, facilities, student center and communications with Levi. My school background is in the beautiful AS Guild. I'm a 6th-year student there. My hobby is, I would say that I'm like a weekday enjoyer, and I like to tinker with stuff, and I also like motorcycling. Very student event, this is a tough one because I really love all kinds of events, but for the last couple of years, the after party for Kukanpäivä has been a banger, so that's my choice.
Hello, I am Saku Turkulainen. My portfolios are associations, neuvosto, and alumni. My school background is from chemical engineering. My major is chemistry and material science. 5th year bachelor student. Hobbies, maybe running would be my #1 hobby right now. And favorite student event would be the itsenäisyyspäivän soihtukulku. That's my traditional event. All of it. All right.
Kiitos Fanni. Oliko meillä?
Thank you, Fanny. Do we have any other announcements?
Tulitko näitä muita ilmoitusasioita? Joten suljen aiheesta.
Apparently there are no other announcements to make, so we can close the discussion and close item 6 and move on to item 7, latest news from the office. A member of the board, Koistinen, will present the latest news from the AYYE office. So Levi, go ahead.
No niin. Loistavaa. Tosiaan
Okay. Levi Koistinen.
toimiston kuulumisen kertominen.
And now I'll give the responsibility to give the first news from the central office. That has been divided according to sectors. Try to focus. Bear with me. So first, we have our community sector. We've had some equality training, association training, and harassment contact person trainings. Then we also have new association approved to the association register, Aalto Synchro, an ice skating association. Then we also will do some updates on our operating grant application process and distribution. And also the January orientations to new freshers, and we also update our tutor trainings. And we also have recruited a part-time tutor coordinator for 3 months. Then also alumni activities are being developed internally. It's one of our action plan projects. Now, what's the practice for questions? Fanny, can you tell? Yeah, let's have the questions at the end of the presentation. More community slides. Several cross-sectoral or Aalto's well-being staff has reached out for help. This concerns several sectors. There's a complete concern of how those freshers who were freshers during the COVID pandemic, how they can be brought into the community. And for this All Well survey, we're waiting for the results. And all ideas are welcome. Some of you have also started your studies during the pandemic. Then what's going on in the community? New volunteers have started in their positions. We've had many different kinds of trainings. We also have several events. Also have a new exhibit at the museum. Go check that out. And we have also done some acquisitions for our art collection. And we will also get something hanging on the walls at the central office. But unfortunately at the archive we had some water damage. But fortunately it did not damage to our collection items.
On saatu hallintaan tai saatiin aika nopeasti sitten yllättäen hallintaan. Lisäkarkistoa järjestellään uudelleen ja sitten on erilaiset yhdistykset.
Also reorganizing our archive, and there are also some visits from associations in the archive.
Näin, siinä on myös tämmöinen kuva tämmöisestä yhteistoiminnasta. Jes, talous- ja varainhoito. Näin. Eli tilinpäätöstä laitetaan tällä hetkellä.
Then finance and asset management, we are drawing up or doing the closing of the accounts. There was also the audits on week 8 and during week 12, so in April, the Representative Council will go through the financial statement. Quite a lot of investment money. What's more interesting is that for this kind of the first call for alternative investment capital call has been paid into EQ's private equity fund, and the first investment commitment has been made for Mandatum's private debt fund.
Näin. Pari kuvaa selventää tilanne. Asuntotoiminta.
Then housing and real estate. Our new application and residence selection processes are now in operation, but the DOMA system has some challenges. Despite us developing it constantly. Then the state investment grants are still on hold, so this has to do with the ARA loans. But the application processes are likely to open soon, but we have no information on how these grants will be allocated. And the building permit application for Otakari 15 new housing unit has been submitted. The project is progressing.
No, sit Aalto ja Tapelan lämpö on ottaneet.
Aton and Tapelan Lämpö have serviced all AYYE facilities as of the 1st of February, and it seems that our cooperation works very well with them. Very promising. There was a process of selecting a condition survey partner for the entire property portfolio. There we can see a photo of the Haikko mansion, Haikko estate. And then we have communications.
We
have had several communication trainings for the board and also for volunteers and associations. I have taken a lot of photographs, the board members, volunteers. Upload them on the website. Then also photos from the Otakari 18 facelift. And also supporting Tempaus is also increasing our workload. Then we also have a board members' introductions going on social media, so on Instagram. Other communication themes are listed here. And advocacy. Ministry of Education and Culture is preparing the reform for the student financial aid in accordance with the Finnish government program. We will focus quite a lot on that. AYYE has also made a statement against the increase of tuition fees for students from outside EU and EEA countries. Then our member services. The items that we sell through the member services are now on display in a showcase in the central office lobby. And the advanced booking rounds for our rental facilities are coming up. Here you can see the timetables, but you can find the information also in our communication channels. And there's also cause for celebration because Päivi at the service counter just recently this achievement that they have been working there for 2 years now. Then we have the AYY's M365 project is still going on. Reforming our file structures. They were preparing for the shutdown of the OTAC server. There are some associations websites still, or they have been moved away, but we still have some of our own pages in the old system. We have many different kinds of training and orientation. We have now managed to settle down at the central office quite well. They also formed our board's goals for the year. Organized an after party for the volunteer training session. Met with different interest groups. For example, with the rector's management team and the finance board. We also have had some photo shoots and Instagram posts. We had a checkpoint at the Jämerän Jälki event. And also made some Valentine's Day cards. For associations. I also had the Syl opening seminar in Oulu. Now they have an amazing university building there in Oulu. Yes, let's have questions at the end. And these are some of the topics that the board has handled during their meetings. Here you can see them. Kind of an annual decision.
Here we tried for the first time this kind of having to do with developing all kind of tasks when they are temporary. So the aim is to do the practical tutoring work training and practical work training the tutors.
Yes, ja Brax Kisma.
Brax Kisma, for your good survey. Now that we have a lot of aspects to do with tutor work, as this coordinator community person, or is this an outside expert that's been recruited? I can dare say enough that they are somebody who many of you know, but since the names are not in the contract yet, they know very well where they are stepping into. This is why we do these quiet recruitments, that we don't have a person in working for 3 months and first month goes into training. So. I would ask about with the tutor coordinator that what kind of costs will it incur, and how it's been budgeted, and what's the money kind of taken from?
Kiitos arvoisa edustajasta puheenjohtaja tästä.
Thank you for borrowing me a mic. Nicely heated head here. So it's not something that's actually taken away from anything. We were actually taking this into account when drafting the budget. So we haven't had to cut back on anything to get this resource in place. This presentation here somewhere. I'll be sending it to you if it hasn't been sent yet. Thank you. That's the next question.
Joo, no tää ei enää liity tähän tutoriuttuun, eli se on tämmösiä...
This doesn't have to do with the tutor thing, so if maybe...
Joo, kiinnitin huomiota tuolla yhdellä...
I was just focusing on the first slides of the show regarding this approving the new association into the association registry, but according to my ways, I look at these materials here at the board meeting. It is clear that two associations have sought for membership, but one of them has not been approved. I would like to hear in a few words that why one was approved and one wasn't. For a good question, the board decided like Potasika Boys is not approved into the registry because we already have one fishing related association, and because, well, in more terms, we have less resources, then it wouldn't be sensible or practical that we would have several clubs for the same thing. So we'll use more money for administration and all kinds of administrative costs. And it leads to the situation where it kind of fractures the community if we have several clubs that do the same thing and compete. But if you have any questions, the last points of order. Looks like no. Thank you, Levi.
Jatkon kannalta korostinkin asia vaan, että kun sanot kysymyksen tai
when you state the question or answering, speak in a calm manner that the interpreters can actually keep up. Closing discussions and moving to place on the record the news from the central office. Closing item 7 and moving on to item 5. It's actually item 8, sorry. The report from the Representative Council Elections 2023. The Central Election Committee, CEC, has concluded their work. The CEC has worked together with the staff members in charge of the elections. They have done a report. Ojelma, please. Thank you. Can Antti get the presentation up and running? Things here at AYYE, and I'll be here presenting this report about the things here at AYYE, and I'll be here presenting this report about the elections last year. If you have very tricky questions about the elections, you'll probably have the answer in the report. Our assistant committee who was doing the elections, they did a 20-page plus report on that, which should have most of the actual details. I will be glossing over the main points. I will be answering your questions to the best of my ability. About the basic information in the elections, we chose you, which is the 45-person representative council for the current term. And the election was prepared by the CEC, appointed by the board, and we also had an administrative members of staff present in preparing the elections. All individuals who had paid their membership fee were eligible to vote. This comes from our constitution regarding elections. People are eligible for elections for all our members, counting out the people in the CEC and AYYE staff. AYY's regulation, electoral regulation, gives the framework for organizing the elections. The CEC comprised of these individuals: Akseli Kontas as chair, Lassi Mölsä as vice chair, Rebecca Adriansen, Visa Pollari, and Kimmo Saira also as members. Out of our staff, we have Martti Ranta, who was acting as secretary and was in charge of all the practicalities of the election, and I was more like a kind of a project coordination, looking at things that ensuring that they happened on time. Julia, our communications expert, was in charge of communications, and Maria Tuunanen in charge of visual communication. In addition, we had as consultant, we have from the board Totti Mante and Ronja Mäkinen as our advocacy specialist. The project lasts about a year. In a nutshell, turn of the last year, we had the applications for the CEC, and we appointed the CEC. All applicants actually got in because then there's not a lot of applications. The CEC then organized itself. We started planning the electoral process. And with the CEC, we had this open electoral start. We had some basic information about the elections, about acting in the representative council, and tips for campaigning and waking people up to the fact that the elections are coming. And they usually start quite quickly when the year starts after the orientation begins. With a small pause. And in September, we had the candidates open. We did a lot of communications. Next month in October, confirmation of candidates, campaigning of candidates. They started their campaigns. And in the November, we had our electoral panel. Voting was open, and then the election party proper. Here on information about the representatives. Candidates, we had 263 candidates compared to 2019. We had, before pandemic, we had 198. And here we have individuals by electoral coalition, 2 electoral coalitions. We had independent individuals, 7 in total. We have the comparison numbers for the previous elections also in the parentheses. Then on AYY's role in this project, how we supported all the candidates. We had the electoral start, offered general information to the elections. Then we offered a free space reservation for campaigning. All coalitions could use and utilize AYY's communications channels in the weekly newsletters and Instagram stories. Also offered all coalitions the €100 support, usable as they see it. AYY also has the posters that we order, but we also order the electoral coalition personal posters, as long as the coalition actually designed one. And we had an electoral panel where all the coalitions got visibility, and SYL provided the voting service.
Sitten minkälaista viestintää AY teki?
On communications, what we did in the RepCo elections, we had our own portion or section in our web pages. We also did a visual lineup, and we had this slogan, "Don't settle for grumbling." We had our own Telegram channel for election managers, lots of social media answers, utilized the weekly news channel. We also gave you an info point at the Aalto party, and when the voting started to loom closer, we also sent a voting letter to all individuals eligible for voting. AYYE also made this general election board. We also had these table triangles, the poster walls, and alliance posters. Like I mentioned, we had these table posters, triangle posters, small info bits that were visible at the campus restaurants. We also utilized AYY's communication channels. Managed to also utilize Aalto's own Instagram account. And also we had voting stations, which was a new thing. Voting stations were a hit. Lots of vaalipulla sweet rolls available. About voting, we had the voting electronically. Second time in a row, we had the Vakka system offered by Trevea as a SaaS service, meaning that AYYE only made up the list of candidates and all people are eligible for vote, and Trevea handled just about everything else. You logged in through Haka, and people, if you didn't want to use Haka as a confirmation, we had a specific identification. We had one individual who wanted a specific identification. We had some technical difficulties during the voting. We had people who might have paid AYY's tasks. They had paid double. Their information was regrettably wrong because our member registry acted as the information source for this system, so it was wrong in the system. And this was actually fixed one by one. And finally, in the last voting day, we repaired all the rest. Then about voting percentage. In this voting percentage was 31.95. Previously, it was 27.72. So in the previous one in 2019, I think we had our highest voting percentage, about 33% in 2019. So it's about it's always been about a third of the members. People eligible for voting, we had about 17,000, and we gave about 5,500 votes were cast. Here are all the numbers, how much each electoral coalition gained votes, how much they gained spots. We had the Valtakuulu Fuksele had 55 slots, but no points. Balti got 94, no slots. Comparisons to 2021. We had 201 previously and 3 slots. We had the One Star Movement, Yhden Tähden Liike got 94 votes, no slots. Luja 197 and 2 slots. Voga 364, 3 slots. Vasemmalla had 402 votes, 3 slots. Luova had 400 votes, 106 slots. Skisma 491 with 5 spots. ProArte 514 with 5 spots. Kyltäri Rengas 732, 6 spots. Vihreämpi Aalto, Greener Aalto 783 with 7 spots. Aalto Coalition got 887 votes and 7 slots. Here's kind of a summary. So here we can actually look at evaluate on how much did the coalitions gain votes and what's their kind of a percentage based part. Here we had the voter turnout in each school one by level study. This wasn't in the report, but this was requested, so we actually created more information about the voting percentage. So here we have our voting percentage based on school and also your study level. So more actively were Chem, and most voters were doing their bachelor's degree. And on the budget, how much does it cost? Here we have kind of all administrative costs and acquisition. So this doesn't cover staff costs. So the people's wages who have been organizing the election. Entirely, this cost about 10,000 euros, which covers lots of voting posters and other kinds of general election posters, candidate posters, table triangles, overall badges, streaming for the party, and also voting stations and election tent costs, and the Trevea system. The largest costs were our triangle overall badges and our Trevea voting system. We still have lots of voting badges. We won't actually order them for the next elections. We have lots of those left. We have some points for areas improvement. We are always iterating these and marking things into for posterity for the next elections. Good to be starting preparing these things. Maybe we have rotated some questions for a while. Maybe we could reset this palette and maybe participate our member base in what are interesting questions. Then we could do more visible communications about our voting system. So our process is that it's really hard to get into the representative council if you are not part of an electoral coalition. We had 7 candidates who were individuals and couldn't make it into the repco. So this is something that people could actually maybe discuss more, that they don't actually they know the risks when they are setting themselves up as independent candidates. Maybe our process for sanctions could be a bit more flexible. Currently, the CEC, when personally, I can say that what kind of process do you have, give sanctions and maybe get the voice of students out and about more. Posters in Swedish, we had Finnish and English posters, but Swedish posters would be nice. And maybe targeted the direct communications towards TFKY and Tokyo. That were kind of the electoral project in brief. Thank you, Annika. Opening discussions. Anybody else or anybody have questions? First off, up front. Yes, Ikävalko Aalto Coalition. About these overall badges, how many did we order? We spent about the 3,000 on them, so. I don't have an exact number, but I think it was calculated that we evaluated that would have 1/3 of eligible people voting. So I think we ordered about 5,000 patches, but with the same slogan. Now we have kind of nice patches that we can use for the future elections as well. So we maybe had this kind of small mistake. So we don't have a year. Okay, nice. Maybe from the back.
Joo, Aalto jätti siihen.
From Luova, I'd like to ask, because we had in the last slide, we had kind of this development targets, and there's the last item, this targeted direct communication. I'd like to ask on like what's the idea behind this, that we can give stuff to TFKY and Tokyo in the future.
Todella piinaava tää tauko, mikä saa odottaa tää mikrofoni.
This is kind of a harrowing pause always we have here. I think the idea is that we'd actually reach with our communications, we could get close to the students, that we can utilize these, but also the fact that maybe on a subject organization level, in addition that we do this AYY's own communications, we have other associations that can reach students easier, can utilize them a bit more, spread the message through the associations which work under our sphere of influence. Here up front. Thank you. Beyond all the coalition, question regarding eligible individuals. So all AYY staff, does this concern the staff members who are not students? Yes, well, practically our members who are paid their membership fees according to our constitution, electoral constitution. So it automatically concerns all staff members. So no outsider can vote. But if we have like people who work for AYY, you can't vote in the elections because this kind of problematics which come from your position in the organization. Yes, about the previous question, that you have TF and KY and Tokyo, but the idea is to, with guilds and subject organizations, to give this direct communication. Yes, that is an excellent idea. Remind you of a clear voice and so introductions. On the coalition, how does this budgeting for this? We spent 10K. So at what stage had the budgeting been made, and how is it determined? Like I have been in charge of budget, and this is my third election. So at this stage, I had a good, clear picture of what the costs are comprised of. And once we are budgeting, we take into account the previous budgets that have been taken. So here we have 2021 costs and looked at the previous elections, but pretty much same sum every time. So no huge surprises towards any direction here. I interpret that there are no further questions. Closing discussion. Thank you to Annika. Going to decide. I propose that the Representative Council will place on record the report from the elections approved as is decided. Closing item 8, moving on to item 9. The report for choice of financial director. 2023, we decided to choose financial committee. That's undecided. Election of the financial committee, so that the RepCo decided to appoint the financial board for term of 2024 as proposed in order to ensure the continuity of the financial activities of the student. For the committee in 2024. Executive Ilmavirta will present the report and the board's preliminary proposal for further actions at the meeting. The matter will be discussed further at other meetings during the year. Antti, please.
Mennään siis asiaan. Talous.
Okay. So, let's cut to the chase and talk about the financial board. We have prepared for you this report requested by the previous representing council and also a proposal on how to move forward. So first, what is the finance board? Some of you already saw the organizational chart. So yes, it's a 10-person body appointed by the representing council and hierarchically on the same level as the board. And of course the board is also elected by the RepCo. So it's a body that deals with financial investment and real estate matters. And its role is it has an advisory and supervisory role, so it doesn't make decisions by itself. These decisions are made by the board or executive director or the chief financial officer. And the finance board comments on matters at the request of the office, board, or representing council or committees, and it can also comment on matters independently if the committee or the board feels that this is necessary. And the finance board chair acts as the chief financial officer's supervisor. And the finance board has an important role in ensuring the continuity over the years. They handle investment and real estate matters that are multi-year projects. Because of course, if you build a big building, it's good that there are some people who have been involved in the project for several years, so that they don't change every year. And it has had this kind of a similar composition since the start of AYYE. And then the members. The chair is Lippo Suominen. I believe Lippo Suominen is the head strategist of S-Pankki Bank. Then we have other experts, very professional people. If we had to purchase their consultation services, that would pretty much use our 2.5 million budget. And newest edition, we have Lea Tolovas, who is the chief finance officer for Who, and the CEO for Ylva. And all these expert members have some kind of a connection to Aalto or AYYE, and they are all here voluntarily. They are not paid anything for their contribution. They're 2-year terms. And some of them are usually they are there for several terms. I think Lippo Suominen is now their 4th term already. Then we have the student representatives, Henri Ailinpieti and Sampo Sainio. And the 2nd year, and Sofia Tynkkönen and Antti Henriksson, who were now elected as student representatives. There are 4 student representatives, and 2 of them represent the tenants. The residents' meetings can appoint their members, their representatives.
No, mistä tämä sitten tämä koko asia lähtee? Eli tässä. And then what happened? What this is all about? Sakari already read through this. The decision made in the previous RepCo's meeting. The representing council decided to appoint the finance board for 2024 in accordance with the proposal. But at the beginning of the year, the RepCo wanted to have a
the board to create a report on whether this appointment has gone according to the rules. And so what do our rules say? Our constitution, section 33, says that the finance board consists of 8 to 10 members, including the chair, and at least half of the members must be members of the student union. Another key point is that the representative council appoints the members of the finance board on proposal of the board for 2 years at a time. I'll give you some time to read through this.
Pyydän tässä kiinnittämään ennen kaikkea huomiota tosiaan noihin muutamaan ekaan riviin ja sitten siihen.
So what was most important are here the first few lines, and then when it talks about the chair of the board. Then, what do our administrative and financial regulations say? Some of you may have already heard when I said that we have some kind of a challenging rules, maybe a bit overlapping or contradicting. So our administrative economic regulations say that the financial board is the body governing the student union's finances, referred to in the government decree on universities, and the duties and powers of the financial directorate or board in relation to the board are defined in this regulation. Then we have the government decree, which says that student union finances may be managed by a body appointed by the student union council. At most, half of the members of the body may be selected among persons who are not members of a student union but who have expertise in financial affairs, and the chair of the body shall be a member of the student union. So what is the actual situation? We have formed the finance board in the same way as before, but it is still clearly against the letter of AYY's rules. Because the chair is not a member of the student union, and at least half of the members are not members of AYYE. But then, is it contrary to the spirit of the rules? Because this is what we have always done before. And previously, have been justified by saying that the chair has and is also now completing courses at the Aalto University. So it has been seen that this is enough. But now representative council, justifiably so, said that, well, even if you study some courses at the university, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a member of AYYE. Rules are quite difficult to interpret, and the main regulation in the constitution says that the chair will be elected among members, but then a few more sections down says that the chair needs to be a member of the student union. But it's a bit contradictory. So we have found this contradiction between the rules and the practice. So, and as the RepCo requested the board to do, so how to move forward with the issue. And what's essential here is that we are not asking you to make any kind of decision about the issue or about the further steps. What we ask from you is that if what we now propose, that you are strongly opposing it, then we will not move on with the preparatory work, of course, if you don't want us to do it. But you don't have to make any kind of detailed decisions today yet. So what is our proposal? The board proposes to change our rules And during this process, we will clearly determine whether the financial board is a decision-making body or an advisory body, because they are quite ambiguous, the rules. Either interpretation is possible, which is not good. Then we will also decide whether the financial board is a body referred to in section 3 of the government decree. Because it says that these issues may be discussed in this body. But there are previous cases about this at the Helsinki University Student Union, where they have a finance board appointed by the board. And they saw no problem in it, even though it's not appointed by the European Council, but rather by the board. Then we will decide on the composition of the board, of the finance board in the future. How many people, how many experts, who will be the chair. Then when we find the answers to these, then we will fix the rules to correspond with what we want to do. This requires us opening up the constitution and the administration of financial guidelines. And the rule change will be completed so that the new rules will be applied to the next finance board. Finally, the board has also discussed this issue at the start of the year. We've had some internal discussions, and also with the chair of the finance board, Lippo Suominen. And in the first discussions that we had, the actual finance board has said that they are happy with the composition of way of working. And actually the financial board asked for feedback from their members, and they were in favor of maintaining the current structure. Also, the employees at the office have been happy with how the financial board works. And the board is in favor of the old model as well, that it functions well. So the goal is that at the April meeting, we will have more training to you regarding the finances and the financial board, and at least the chair of the financial board, Lippo, would be here. We can have a dialogue with Lippo. And if you don't now say that this is a bad idea, we don't want to change the rules. So if you approve of this and we will open up the rules, the constitution, then maybe it would be prudent to examine the rules, the other sections of the rules as well, because there is some kind of a need for changes or adjustments in other parts as well. Yes, but that was my presentation. I'll be happy to answer your questions and hear your comments.
Yes, ikävä kokoomus.
Ika Valko from Kokoomus. How did this contradiction come up? Or how was it brought up? was brought up at the RepCo meeting 8/2023 during the discussion. And then when we started to look into it more after the meeting, I kind of saw that this isn't a new thing per se. I think some people have noticed this before as well, that this is not in accordance with the letter of our rules, but previously it has been deemed okay that the chair is completing courses at the Aalto University, and as a student they are close enough to a member of AYYE. But if we look at the history, with the same rules and regulations, we have used them to elect a similar composition to the financial board, so before. I think that this has been a case of no one has realized to question this, kind of realizing that the rules are contradictory. An active member of the Representative Council asked the board that said that this seems problematic, and when we looked into it, we agreed. Because even if you study at Aalto, it doesn't automatically make you a member of AID, that this group is so important that it shouldn't be given for a student to chair. But then also good points were raised regarding KY, for example. And I strongly believe that if we have a group of smart and competent people there, it doesn't really matter what the composition is like or how they organize themselves, it still works. And as we have seen, this current composition works well. So maybe I would like to see myself, well, I'm not really that familiar of what kind of decisions the body makes, but I have full faith in the office and in the finance board that the people there know what would be the right thing to do. But still, I hope that we would see this a bit of a pros and cons comparison of between the current methods of chairing and if it were chaired by a student. Because as was brought up in the previous meeting, the chair doesn't need to be the most competent expert in the body. The chair is mostly a facilitator, and then there are others who may have more expertise. So if we had a student chairing the finance board, then it would mean that we will give an amazing opportunity for one of our members to learn new things and to see things from a different perspective. And this is also a kind of a member service, offering this kind of a fantastic opportunity to someone, which will surely be beneficial to them in the future. So I would hope to see this kind of a pros and cons list. But I believe that regardless of the structure, the financial board will function very well. Yes, good comment. That's why I formulate this proposal in the way that we have done. And we are not yet asking you to make a final decision regarding the rules and their changes. But the idea is more that we would have a discussion about the composition of the finance board. How many members they would have? Would the chair need to be a member of the student union? So we will have a discussion about this here and in future meetings. And you can also discuss with members of the financial committee, financial board. And then when we have formed consensus regarding these 3 bullet points, then we will most likely update the rules. And yes, the rules, they are kind of unclear and contradictory. So even if we don't want to if we want to maintain the similar structure I believe that the rules would also need some clarification to them. That's why we are not asking for you for a decision on how to make the rules, how to change the rules. So the first thing is to start the discussion about the subject. And then after the discussion, we will make the necessary changes to the rules. And even though I said that the board has considered this issue, it still hasn't had that much time to consider and talk about the issue. That's why we talk about the preliminary views about the issue. Because we don't have any kind of a certain opinion on the matter. Correct me if I'm wrong, funny, but yes, it's the way I have interpreted the situation. Okay, thank you for giving me the floor. I have a few questions. Because now, if the board has been appointed so that they go against the rules, but is this body, does it have a decision-making power? Or is there a risk that before we start changing the rules, that their decisions would not be legal or valid? Or that they would be need to taken to administrative court? That's a good question. A few important points. First, the Representative Council has appointed this financial board. So in that sense, the finance board can act the way they see fit. So as long as the Representative Council doesn't decide to revoke this decision, it will be valid until then. And another important point is that the financial board does not make decisions. They just give advice and comments. So there are really no decisions that would really kind of official decisions similar to what the board does or that I do as the executive director. Their role is more that they will comment that maybe we should do it like this. And then me or CFO or the board implements these recommendations. But on a general level, of course, it's possible some member of the Representative Council may submit a complaint to the administrative court. And if this is done, then of course, well, then it will be handled in the administrative court and decided there. But if we now decide to start the process of changing our rules to make them clearer and to rectify the situation, then I think that then everything would be okay. But of course, I cannot be 100% certain. I'm not a lawyer. And it will be ultimately solved if someone decides to take the matter to the administrative court. But as long as you don't want to revoke the decision, it will be valid. Even if it is in contradiction with the rules. Mika Valko from Aallon kokoomus. Are there some kind of expenses involved in changing the rules? Lawyers' expenses or the like? Well, no significant expenses. We have people at the office who have been writing rules for years, so I think we don't need to hire any kind of outside help for this. We also have some kind of familiar lawyers that can help us pro bono or at a very affordable price. if we need that kind of help, but that it should not incur any kind of significant expenses.
Thank you, Vanhanen, Aalto Coalition. Pertaining to the history of the regulations, how well have the regulations been drafted up in their current form so that kind of have, of course, they can be interpreted differently, but would be quite strongly interpreted that we have a student chairperson, but like stated that the spirit of the regulations differentiates from that of the rule of the write-ups. Why has it been done so? And when you've named this group, and we always looked at the regulations every time, or we just appointing a committee that is against the regulations. Very, very good questions that would I like to hear answers, which we don't have kind of a historical data bank which we could utilize directly to find answers for these questions. Maybe we have taken the stance maybe that on a level that even though it's kind of interesting that why it has gone, so it has gone, but maybe more interesting would be that what will we do from here on out instead of kind of finding culprits on why we have acted the way we have acted, rather think of solutions and what will we do in the future. Yes, I personally am interested in knowing that why this has been done so, in the manner that it has been done, that why we not written different kinds of regulations or mandates to act. Maybe we could ask the individuals who drafted the regulations. I was a member when AYY's regulations were approved. I was a member, but regrettably I can't remember. So I was kind of a every week guy who just like go there and say yes. So I went there and said yes. Three more questions at this stage, and then we'll move forward. But I would believe that we have pretty much answered many of the questions. But I might interpret from the comments that the solutions, maybe finding the answers to these questions and looking at what regulations need changing, has your confidence as a decision for this. Yes, that's what I will interpret from this then. Yes, thank you, Antti. I will. So, according to the proposal, we decided to record and report and decide on further action. No objections. Decided. Closing item 9, moving on to item 10, other emerging matters. Opening discussions. Watson? Hello, I would inquire that do we have an after party today? There have been some rumors. We had some preliminary plans, but we decided like it's a bit hard to move, but we will say that the official after party at Ölhäv. Ilmavirta. Yes, thank you. Maybe in other emerging matters, I may at this stage inform that I will be leaving for my parental leave on the 1st of April. So your secretary for the last meetings will be Annika. Annika will also be my stand-in for my parental leave in tasks which are not passed by Fanny. I'll be away for the ones, but I'll be back during the fall. The representative council have other emerging matters. I interpret the silence so that there are not, so I will close the discussion and move to close the meeting at 18:56. Item 11. It's 18:56 and I close the meeting.